Hello, my pleasure to participate during this great event. And let me demonstrate and show you some things regarding our data analytic platform. I use Informix for my demonstration. My presentation here has two dimensions. So one dimension is why Informix is suitable for CloudPak for Data as a data source, and other dimension is that CloudPak for Data can enhance any existing external data source. So regardless structured data, unstructured data, etc. And at the end, I will show you two demos. The first is short, but to demonstrate you that it's not difficult to create some valuable data science simple application to analyze the data. And second demo will be more complex to show you at least the initial steps or full steps from data to AI. So why I think Informix is very suitable as a data source for CloudPak for Data. Informix is hybrid database. It means that Informix has a lot of native data types which can be used in data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence. For sure, is traditional, long-term traditional relational database. It's perfect database with native support for TimeSeries data. My first demonstration will cover this data type. Informix is no SQL database, maintaining natively JSON-based data, and also natively maintaining geospatial data. All these types are data types which are currently used in data science and machine learning. What to say to the customer who has existing database with application, everything works fine, and the customer think that I don't need anything else. The goal of our data analytics platform is to bring the new dimension, new view for different types of data, not Informix, that data in different data sources, besides the traditional applications. Traditional applications are written in some language, require some maintenance, dedicated for specific functionality. But during the time, 20, 30 years, we collect a lot of data, and this data has a lot of hidden information which can be discovered by this tool. So how CloudPak for Data can enhance existing external data? I see this technology as all-in-one technology. So all what you need is inside this technology. It's something like as modern smartphones. In smartphones, it's also all-in-one technology. You have mail clients, you can manage your bank, you have a web browser, you can play games, send SMS, emails, etc. So the analogy perfectly fit also for CloudPak for Data as all-in-one platform. The first step when we implement this technology is to allow to join data from different sources, regardless structured or unstructured. There is a lot of tens of possible data sources which can be connected to the platform and analyzed by this platform. We also can join different data types or different data sources from different types, which means that we can do so-called data virtualization. For example, we can have data from Informix, from Oracle in separate storages, and we can join them and create a view on this data and do some different analysis, aggregation, etc. In the next step, when we connect the data which we are interested in, we need to understand and discover the content. We have also the tool to do it. When we connect the data and we understand what is inside, we can start with data cleaning. We have a lot of data cleaning tools to do it. When we will do, we know where our sensitive data is and if we need to anonymize data. So we can create a role-based anonymization for sensitive data. When we do it, we can classify and catalog data for data governance. So we have the central point of all assets which are used in our technology, and we have the governance catalog, all this to work on business level. After that, when our data is clean, are classified, catalogized, we can do the visualization and reporting. We can stop here, but we can continue if we need to do some deeper analysis. We can discover hidden information by data modeling and predictive analytics. We have a lot of tools which are here, which doesn't require any knowledge in programming languages. So it's on a high level, it doesn't require some deep learning of programming languages, etc. There are tools which doesn't require deep knowledges, technical knowledges for this. But if we are not satisfied with the existing tools, we have the possibility to use Python, R, and Spark for in-memory processing, and also Python, R, and Perfect languages for data science, machine learning, for statistic processing, etc. And at the end, our way finished in artificial intelligence. So we can go, or we are going in this process from data to artificial intelligence. So let me go to my demonstrations. I have recorded demonstration, so I hope that everything will be fine. So first, let's start with a relatively simple application which allows time series data which are stored in Informix. So first, we are using here SPSS modeler, where we are creating the flow for analyzing of Informix time series data. So we add the asset, and the asset will contain the connection from Informix, where we have table which contains time series data. This table contains time series data in its native form. So we can use here select statement, which is, I stop it here. You can see that this select statement uses native modules or functions to process time series data in Informix. This example of select statements aggregate 15 seconds ticks values by day. So we are aggregating by the select statement our time series data by day. So we will continue. So we will use this SQL statement, and we test that now that the data is there and that our data can be processed and are visible. So you can see very simple, left side is timestamp and right side is the value. Our goal of this processing is to show some let's say prediction if our time series data has decreasing or increasing way for the future. So now we will select some chart to analyze what are the existing data. So immediately we can launch some chart builder, and in the chart builder we can select our time series data and values, and immediately we can graphically explain how our data looks like. Now we start with inserting of the model And in this model, we are interesting about progressing of the value in this time series. We add the time series modeling. In this tool, there is a lot of pre-prepared models. So we choose one of them and try to guess how our data behaves. If we want to guess the trends of our time series data. So first we select very simple model. And now we start the tools. We will finish the modeling. By the finishing of the modeling, some golden nugget will appear. And we will use this golden nugget here to see how our data is developing or how our data behaves. So for this, now here to compare, we add the original value here from the database and calculated value based on the model. So we will see how the model is correct and how the model fit for our purposes. So we use time series as an axis label. We will save it. We will run recalculating based on this model. And we can see now the output. So in a blue line, there is the original value, and a red line is the graph, is the value which are calculated based on our model. It says nothing for this, so we don't see if our time series are increasing in general or decreasing. So we need to change the model. So now we can change very fast the model. So when we change some more complex model here or select some other model, not simple, but this linear trend, because it's what we are interested, the trends of our time series data. After finishing and opening, we have the clear result here that our model or our time series data has decreasing trend in time. And it was the goal of our first demo, our first example here. To have, for example, this tool can be used also for this situation if we have a lot of more time series data, so we can also predicate the behavior of our data also for the future. So we can guess based on a lot of data, we can guess also the value which will be for the future, etc. So it was the first demonstration, and let's start with more complex demonstration. So this demonstration is a demonstration to analyze data from about the passengers from the Titanic. So this data can be stored in any database, not only Informix, but in any database, in file, in any type of resource. So first things, as I explained during the presentation, we need to understand the data. So we will create the governance catalog for our data source. We name this catalog as Titanic, for example. And we specify that we are enforcing data protection because in our data are also sensitive data. So after creating of the catalog, first of all, we need to connect our data. So we specify the connection. I'm using here the connection to Informix. I will speed up the process. Connection is successful, so data is connected. And from the connection, I select the asset, in this case, the table, which I'm interested in. So the table is the list of all passengers with the data which I want to analyze. So here I have the passenger list. I will select it. I will name it. And I add this asset to my catalog. After adding this asset to my catalog, I can open it and I can see my data in this asset. I can do the profile. And after profiling is done, there is also done the categorization of the data. So you can see here that there are automatically assigned some categories for the data. But for sure, if there is something number, the technology is not able to know what is exactly in the column. So it's categorized as identifier, but I know that it's not identifier, but for this case, it's a customer or passenger number. So I can add data class customer number. Here is passenger class. So passenger class was categorized as last name, but I know that it's travel class. So I can change this. I can change what I need. It's fine. It's also fine, etc. So it seems that here is the age. Age is number. So it's categorized as a code. I can change it as a age. And some other, here is number of siblings. So it's some number of family relatives. So I can categorize or edit this data class by relatives number. The same here, it's number of parents, etc. Because this information is also very interesting for other analyses. So now I can see that tickets. So I have also class for tickets. So ticket number, fare, it can be also interested. So I can change to ticket fare here. And it's almost all. So now I have the data classes correctly assigned automatically or by my intervention correctly. And in the next step, I will create the rule for sensitive data. My sensitive data is, I will slightly go back. My sensitive data is here, is the last name. Last name is the data which shouldn't be interested for some data scientist or data engineer. So for the other processing, when I give this data to other people, I hide this data or redact this data. To do it, I need to create the rule. Here is the rule where I specify that if data class contains last name, the action is that I need to redact the data in columns which contains data class last name. So I'm using a reduction here. There is also the possibility of masking to have the masked value, but the similar to original value. But in this case, it's enough to redact data. So this rule is done. So if this rule is applied in my catalog, I can assign the access to, let's say, ordinary user, not admin, but ordinary user let's say the name is Joe, for example. His role will be editor, because I have separate role, admin, editor, or viewer. So editor is higher role in here. So, and I assign also the access exactly to this asset, to asset of the passengers. So I add Joe also to be able to work with passengers table on passengers data. When I log on as user Joe, I will demonstrate here that this user Joe will see all data except of sensitive data. So user Joe can open the asset with passengers data, but we will see here that this user won't see the sensitive data. So if the user will open these assets and try to see to asset, he get the information that data masking is in progress and one column is masked. So when finishing, you can, for example, go to here in this case, to go to profiling, and we can see here in profiling that the profile is unavailable because this data is hidden. So this data is sensitive. If we go back to assets, we can see that the last name is redacted. So this user is not able to see this data, but can work with any other data. So go back to our previous user, to admin, go back to our catalog with our passengers. And now when we open it, we can, after analyzing by Joe user, which can be data scientist, we can, and after agreement of this user that the rest of the data is clean, because we did cleaning before, that the data is clean, is correct, we can add this data to the project for other analyzing by other tools. So we add this data after analyzing as correct data from data quality perspective to project. So we can see that 2 assets are in Titanic project. And when we go directly to the project, in this project, there are assets, 2 assets. And now we can add, based on our deployment of the tool, we can add, for example, here data refinery flow, which we will use for this, or we can use, for example, Watson Studio, which is the tool where we can program our data analytics in Python, in R, with using of Spark, etc. So we add the data refinery flow to create some graphs, some diagrams to analyze the data. So we will look to our passengers, which we prepared in the previous steps. So we check it in our preview. And now what we can do in this data refinery, we can continue with the cleaning of the data. So for example, we can see that there is, for example, title. There is a lot of different title types. So in this data cleaning phase, we can decide that title will be only the Mr., Mrs., and Miss. So everything else, for example, Madam, Mademoiselle, abbreviation, etc., we add to Miss or Mrs. So in this refinery, data refinery, we have tools to do it. So we select this title column, and after selecting of this data column, we can do the different operations. And now in these different operations, we define the condition where we say that if the column is equal to, for example, mademoiselle, we change the value to miss. The similar when we, for example, find the value, for example, title, which is equal to here equal to, for example, miss is again miss. Yeah, so we apply these operations, and after applying these operations, we can go again to profile, and we can see that the original data where in this next step are modified for our analysis. You can see here on the right side that we have three steps. We calculated some values in some previous steps, but we do the conditional replace. Yes, conditional replace. So the original data remains as is, but for our analysis, temporarily are stored these modified data for our next analysis. So now, when we did it, we can check it, and we can do the different type of visualization. For example, we can choose for example, bar diagram here. And here we select the category. The category here will be, for example, survive. So we will analyze the different type of passengers based on the survive. So we have the first information that more people in Titanic didn't survive than survived.
Jan,
yes.
Jan, I just switched my camera on. This is so amazing. You're in a flow. Huh? This is incredible what you're presenting. But we only have 3 minutes left. So
yes, I know. I know. I am finishing during 1 minute.
Oh, okay, perfect. Sorry for interrupting. Sorry.
Yes,
sorry.
I am finishing during 1 minute.
Great.
I know. I have also my clock here. And now we can show, for example, based on the travel class. And also, for example, we can label it here. Or we can also change some other things. That's all. So we can also export this diagram, etc. So we can change here, also analyze based on the sex, for example. So we can see immediately, analyze it from this. And it was my second demonstration, and that's all what I want to demonstrate and share with you. So if you have some questions, I am ready, at least I believe, to answer your questions.
I am sure that Ralph has a question now.
Why is our audience so shy? Why do you always ask me for questions? So
no, it's because Jan was on his flow, and then you interrupted him, and then you've got to have a question now. It's not about just interrupting Jan.
Well, Jan, I've been trying CloudPak for data various times. I've been trying the Watson AI of IBM in the accelerated catalog. I found it quite complicated to sign up. My question is, what is your experience of signing up for the cloud-based services?
My experience is I installed, let's say, a lot of CloudPaks in test environment for different POC, MVPs, and it's Kubernetes, OpenShift Kubernetes platform. The first things which I see is good sizing. Good sizing is the most important thing, because without good sizing and really without recommendation which are published and also based on some experiences is the crucial point to continue with different services. The good things here is that the system is very modular, so you can install it based on the sizing. Only what you need to do for your work. So good sizing is the crucial point for this. But
okay, so that's great. What I understand from your answer is that once you log in, you just define what you need to install and then adapt that to your sizing or vice versa, and that's very easy to handle. Is that correct?
From my side, when your installing is finished, so the interface, graphical interface of CloudPak is from my side very good, because you have list of services which are available. You immediately see which services are installed and available, which service is not. If you find that the service is not installed, you have the link to the documentation. The newest version is based on Operator, OpenShift Operator, which is very nice Kubernetes technology, which allows you also to implement the feature of the application which are running inside the pod, because without operators, Kubernetes saw the pods as something running, and if something crashing, Kubernetes or OpenShift didn't know what to do with this application. But operators are able also handle the application inside the correct way. So in this version, for the using of operates for implementing of the services is very good. Also from the OpenShift graphical interface.
Cool. Thanks for that answer. That really put me on the path again to maybe be more successful on the integration and installation.
Thank you.
Artificial intelligence,
data, analytics,
user group.
IDAUG.
Join IDAUG today.